Welcome to Learn English Through Documentary, Female Empowerment Series. Today we will watch the story of Francesca Hong, the first Asian American representative. In this video, you will learn about the following content. The reason why Francesca Hong, a person who originally worked in service industry, decided to attend politics. How she worked hard to solve food service business owners' predicament after she got elected as a representative. In the past, she encountered struggles of self-identity. After Francesca entered food service, she established self-recognition and confidence, inspiring herself to enter politics. In addition, you can learn the following vocabulary: entrepreneur, working class, legislature, debate, elect, minimum wage, hospitality industry, policy, self-awareness, confidence. You can also learn the following phrases: see eye to eye, propel somebody into gerund, and the sentence pattern, no matter. We've designed 3 questions for the content and cultural knowledge. Finally, there will be 10 questions to help you review what you learn. Before entering today's episode, we have the first question for you. Why did Francesca decide to run for representative? A. She saw the difficulty of the service industry owners during the COVID-19 pandemic. B. To fulfill her childhood dream. C. To fight for children's rights. D. She was forced to change career because she was laid off during the pandemic. Listen closely. The answer is in the video. Now, let's begin our video.
John? Hi! Thanks for coming to the rescue today.
George, can you say hi to John? Mama used to work with John a really long time ago, before you were born.
So good to see you.
The farmers market is a place where I feel in community.
Morning, Neil. How are you? Good to see you too. You know which one you want?
Each vendor is an entrepreneur, is a small business owner. They are taking agency in their own financial endeavors as well as taking care of themselves and their family. So it's really a place of community and of care.
How's it going at Feed? Good. Yeah. There you go. Please say hi to Chris for me.
I think what always goes through my head these days when I go to farmers markets is I used to shop a lot more for the restaurant, and I don't shop as much for the restaurant anymore because I ran for office. There's a little bit of sadness in knowing that I have a little less of a role and I'm transitioning out of my role in the restaurant, but that I get to do more markets with George.
But at least have some milk and some bacon, please. And then we can have your granola bites on the walk. Do you want to have them on your walk? A couple more bites of bacon. You want to take your bacon on the road? Why don't we walk with the bacon, huh? So Grandma and Grandpa are going to pick you up and take you back to their house, okay? And then Mama's got to work a little late tonight, and then I'll pick you up right after dinner, okay? There's the bell. There's the bell. Okay.
No, there's the older kids.
Older kid's bell, okay. Hey, Grandma's gonna pick you up, okay? I'll see you later. I'm gonna pick you up from Grandma and Grandpa's house, okay? All right, backpack. Extra mask is in the front pack. Please eat all of your lunch. And then the 2 snacks. Bye, Georgie. Okay.
I ran for office to be a working class voice, a bridge builder, for folks to understand that you can be a business owner and understand the needs of working people and respect lived experiences. And I think those are values that every one of us has in the community, but is often lacking in representation, especially in our state legislature. A big part of why I ran was the COVID-19 pandemic. It hit, and I experienced a type of grief that I'd never felt before. A grief and a fear that the restaurant would close, my entire team would be out of a job. Because it was my husband and I that were chefs and owners, we would be out of work. You talk to servers, you talk to cooks. They were the first people to really experience getting let go and had no support system. And there was no representation that really recognized that being in the service industry was exceptional and that we needed representation too.
Francesca is our first child, and actually, as most parents notice, that the first one is kind of different than the younger ones. They say that everybody's same, the children, but the first one is more high expectations. She is extremely very strong leadership, and then she's kind of bossy, but she's so care.
She was a leader in her soccer team and all the other activities. She took most of the leader roles.
Can I have a block?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I got it.
Yummy.
When Francesca told us that she would run for the office representative, well, definitely it was a surprise, but we didn't expect that she would win.
Elected.
I mean, she is total freshman in the politics. So we were impressed and amazed by, wow, she worked really hard to prepare for this debate.
This question goes to Ms. Hong. What barriers currently exist in Wisconsin that state lawmakers should look to address so more individuals can access the care and services they need?
I would say there's an even bigger question not being asked here and a bigger crisis to recognize, and that we have a crisis of connection.
Then somehow she won, getting almost 30%. That was amazing.
Did you get the answer? The answer is A. She saw the difficulty of the service industry owners during the COVID-19 pandemic. In the video, Francesca stated that a major part of the reason she ran for representative was because she was anxious about the COVID-19 pandemic, worried that her restaurant might go out of business, causing her entire crew to lose their jobs. To make matters worse, there was no social assistance system to help these who got laid off. Let's review the vocabulary of this section. Entrepreneur. Each vendor is an entrepreneur, is a small business owner. Working class. I ran for office to be a working class voice, a bridge builder. Legislature. I think those are values that every one of us has in the community, but is often lacking in representation, especially in our state legislature. Debate. She worked really hard to prepare for this debate. Before entering the second part, let's have a look at our question. According to the video, which of the following statements about sub-minimum wage is true? A. In America, tipped minimum wage is often called sub-minimum wage. B. Sub-minimum wage is lower than the federal minimum wage. C. Sub-minimum wage prevents restaurant industry from being a dignified career. D. All of the above. Listen closely. The answer is in the video.
I wasn't supposed to be elected. And so I think me being in the Capitol makes some folks very uncomfortable.
Representative Hong, you first Asian American legislator in Wisconsin state history. We actually both met on the campaign trail. So I was running for Senate and she was running for an assembly district in my Senate district. We had never met before. Someone DM'd me and they were like, have you heard of Francesca Hong? She lives in the 76th district. She's thinking of running and is a really cool woman of color. And so I DM'd her on Twitter. She really challenges the status quo. I think for her constituents, not only is it supporting small businesses or increasing the minimum wage or climate, she incorporates, these ideas that aren't mainstream, climate justice, right? Looking at food sustainability and sovereignty, looking at eliminating the tip minimum wage.
No, I think it's still absolutely ridiculous that we
Have a tip minimum wage?
yes, of $2.39 an hour.
33.
33. Oh, excuse me. $2.33 an hour. No, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, and service work is I think often undervalued and underappreciated, and just like in politics, you've got like the face, right? But really what happens, what drives all of the work, anything that happens, yes, there might be the face of someone saying they're the chef, but ultimately the people run the restaurant.
Yes.
And the people should be running the politics.
You're awesome, Fran. You're incredible. You already know, you're literally my role model, so
I look to you for a lot of leadership and guidance too. I hope you know that. This tip minimum wage, often known as well as the sub-minimum wage, it perpetuates all of the inequities in the restaurant industry when it comes to making our workers more vulnerable to sexual harassment, to losing wages, to not being able to advance in the industry. It shuts people out. It doesn't allow for restaurant work to be seen as dignified, respectful work. And it is. We've seen that it is because people have been needing it. People have been wanting to go back out to restaurants. And those who work in the industry are some of the most vulnerable, and they have been for a while, even before the pandemic hit.
The tip minimum wage is a wage that's even lower than the federal minimum wage. No matter who you are, where you're from, your zip code, if you are working, you deserve to be able to cover the basics: housing and food and childcare and transportation. It doesn't matter your level of education or your experience. We believe that everyone who works deserves to be paid a wage that can cover the basics.
I try to work with Francesca, but we have differences in philosophy because I'm a Republican and she's a Democrat. So generally speaking, I'm supportive of smaller government, cutting spending and taxes, freedom, individual freedom. And the Democrats' philosophy is to spend more and grow government. And it's just a difference in the way you think of things, but she believes she's doing the right thing. It's challenging when you're in the minority because usually when they come to the floor, we know how the vote's going to go. Generally, it's going to go to the majority.
Hence no. Hong. Hong, no.
Close the roll. There are 57 ayes, 37 noes. The bill is passed. Gentleman from the 5th.
She wants to make sure she gets her opinion out there, and she does a good job of that. But it's also difficult when you're contentious to get other people to buy into your ideas. I think it's a little better if you use, sugar rather than salt. When you're in the minority, it's very difficult unless you develop a relationship with somebody from the opposite party to influence the legislation. So it's always good to develop those relationships and friendships, even though we don't see eye to eye and everything. You get to step up while I step back after this session. I'll be 69 and I just want to step back and work on special projects and those kind of things. So I'll let it to you to carry on.
It's really hard to build trust in politics. It's hard to do in the hospitality industry too, especially because you often lose sight when you're caring for customers and creating food for others, to lose a little bit of sense of self. I think a lot of my insecurities and my struggles with mental health really came from a sense of never really feeling like I belonged. There was a deep shame and fear that I didn't want to be Korean. And I think that's where a lot of the mental health struggle started. I deeply wanted to be American, and I felt shame that my parents sacrificed so much to be here, and that wasn't who I wanted to be. So in order to cope with a lot of those things, I just focused on achievements. I needed to be the best soccer player, the best singer. I wanted to get all of the grades, all of the high grades. And I experienced massive burnout, and I didn't really know why I was doing any of the things I was doing, and felt no real connection to anyone.
Around that time, we noticed that she was kind of very fatigued, exhausted, and lost any energy, and she didn't want to go to school and stayed late in her bed. So we just thought that
it's a hard time.
Yeah, so maybe she's really tired out of all the soccer practice and studying.
Isolation and loneliness led into a lot of despair and depression, and I was hospitalized my senior year of high school. I didn't walk at graduation. And I tried the college thing, a couple different schools. And then I also started cooking.
Did you get the answer? The answer is D, all of the above. The video stated that sub-minimum wages has perpetuated all of the inequities in the restaurant industry, causing it not being able to be seen as a dignified, respectful work. Representative Shelton also stated that sub-minimum wage is lower than the federal minimum wage. Let's learn the vocabulary of this section. Elect. I wasn't supposed to be elected. Minimum wage. I think for her constituents, not only is it supporting small businesses or increasing the minimum wage. Hospitality industry. It's really hard to build trust in hospitality industry. There is an important phrase in this section. See eye to eye.
I support small government and the operation of free market.
I support big government, which uses public power to solve social injustice and to actively seek benefits for its people.
We don't see eye to eye in our political ideals.
But this doesn't affect our friendship.
Repeat after me.
We don't see eye to eye in our political ideals.
There is an important sentence pattern in this section. No matter. First, have a look at these 3 examples. No matter who you are, where you're from, your zip code, if you are working, you deserve to be able to cover the basics. No matter who breaks the law, he should be punished. No matter what I do, I cannot lose weight. Did you see that? You can add interrogative terms after no matter to express whether the result remains the same. This is the final question. Which experience of Francesca does the title of the documentary Cookin Up Policies reflect? A. She found a sense of belonging in food service industry, which propelled her into going into politics and advocating for workers in food service industry. B. She had identity issues during her childhood. C. She demonstrated leadership skills at charity dinners. D. She exhibited flexibility in her roles as a mother, a politician, and a chef. Listen closely. The answer is in the video.
And I think it was Bourdain who talked about, it takes a certain breed of people to work in the restaurant industry. And then worked my way through kitchens and realized that I finally felt more of a sense of belonging. And I think it was because I didn't have this sinking feeling of not wanting to be Korean. Being a part of a kitchen team and a restaurant team, I felt included because there was a skill set I was bringing, and I finally felt like I belonged and that I was special. There was a benefit dinner at Zephyr Farms to benefit the elder food boxes for the Chippewa Valley Elder Food Box Program, partnered with Feeding America. So I had an opportunity to cook outside on the farm on Dan's land with indigenous ingredients for and learn from tribal elders, really about the sustainability and how we used to cook, how we used to sustain ourselves, and how we used to nourish ourselves. And so I was in charge of dessert course for about 100 people.
Hi, friends.
Okay, Francesca, we're getting a table.
Okay. Wonderful.
And we can
Perfect.
move this one.
You know what? I can just store some of the things. I don't have any prep except for breaking up some brittle.
We had Dan Cornelius. He's a farmer, he's a chef. He works on the Agricultural Food Tribal Council. Yusuf bin Rilla is an Afro-Indigenous chef, and he really is spearheading the movement towards reintroducing African ingredients. And then there was John Nudler and Sam Kincaid, two industry veterans. Their restaurant was highly acclaimed and featured in Food and Wine as Best New Restaurant. And those two are two of the most talented cooks that I know and two of the most humble people that I know.
So I'll just break those up and pop them in there.
Remember when we did the cookies?
Yeah. I feel good about it.
Okay. I don't agree. I have no idea what I'm doing.
I went in thinking that I would bring my dessert and I would help with some plating of other courses. But when I got there, Yusuf and Dan were still doing a lot of prep. And our dinner was in an hour and a half. And I was initially very panicked.
I think we're a little behind schedule, but they'll make it work.
We got bisons and we got speech and we got dessert, yeah?
Okay, so we're going to switch it up a little bit.
We switched it.
I'm sorry.
All good.
While desserts run past, we're going to do speeches.
Got it.
Thank you.
So we'll just keep chugging.
Yeah.
Great.
I welcome everybody to the farm. We're going to have a multi-course dinner, and we've got a buffalo that you can see John is just finishing over on the grill there. And that buffalo is going to be served with some potatoes. And then moving on to dessert, Francesca Hong has a wild rice cake that she's going to be serving.
It didn't seem like we were going to be able to pull this together. We needed to feed these people, and I went into just productivity mode.
Okay, let's get this. These boxes here, can we get them all open? Yeah, so a nice big one at the top, and then pull it down. And then when we come in with the veg, let's make sure the veg is on the right, facing this way. And so then when we come through, we can have veg, and then bison will come on the left side.
When the tribal elders' speeches went longer, it allowed us to actually get fully prepped up. And in the end, we pulled it off. We did it because everyone understood what needed to happen in the end, and they wanted everyone to succeed.
The benefit dinner, I think, really showcased how much of a leader she is. When you watch her work, she maps everything in her mind and then just does until she gets to the end point.
I don't know, sometimes it's the rush of like thinking on the fly. This is my happy place.
And I think it lends to a lot of her flexibility in the kitchen, as we saw at the benefit dinner, but then also when we're drafting policies. And so that flexibility, I think, in her role as an executive chef or as a mother or as a politician, it really, really helps out.
The fact that it made someone else feel incredibly grateful or happy to eat it and to be there, that's my comfort zone, right? Knowing that somebody else was happy with something that so many people worked really hard to achieve for them. I think I finally come past my feelings of not belonging in certain spaces in Madison, especially having felt a kinship to the hospitality industry and feeling very in control and comfortable in kitchens and in restaurants. It's helped me build a kind of self-awareness and confidence that propelled me into going into politics, because I think the people that represent us should care about communities, about all communities, and talking about it makes people uncomfortable. Having to do work on yourself and talk about having the first Asian American in the legislature, why there hasn't been any before me, what are we going to do to make sure I'm not the last? And so I want to bring into politics an understanding of care, an understanding of community, and knowing that shared vulnerability and shared struggle can be power, and that power can be shared as well.
Did you get the answer? The answer is A. She found a sense of belonging in food service industry, which propelled her into going into politics and advocating for workers in food service industry. In the video, Francesca mentions that she found a sense of belonging in the food service industry, which helped her establish self-awareness and confidence, motivating her to enter politics. On the other hand, the pandemic revealed the struggles of food service workers. Her political involvement provided her with the opportunity to speak out for them and develop related policies. Now, let's review important vocabulary of this section. Policy. I think it lends to a lot of her flexibility in the kitchen, but then also when we're drafting policies. Confidence. It's helped me build a kind of self-awareness and confidence that propelled me into going into politics. After learning these two words, we will teach you some tips to memorize vocabulary. Self-awareness. This word can be broken down into self and awareness. Self means oneself, and awareness means the state of being aware of something. Combine both and you will get self-awareness, which means having good knowledge and judgment about yourself. It's helped me build a kind of self-awareness and confidence that propelled me into going into politics. There is an important phrase in this section. Propel somebody into gerund. First, have a look at these three examples. It's helped me build a kind of confidence that propelled me into going into politics. The story of King Arthur propelled the author into writing one of the best-selling fictions in history. The election propelled Cindy into being the president of this corporation. Did you see it? The phrase propel somebody into gerund can be used to cause someone to do an activity. After watching the video and learning the vocabulary, phrases, and sentence pattern, let's review and deepen your memory. The content of this video is: Francesca Hong is the first Asian American representative in Wisconsin. She came from the food service industry and encountered frustration due to mental issues, but finally found a sense of belonging and self-identity. She decided to participate in politics, become the voice of the working class, and solve the long-existing problems in the food service industry. The video presents her challenges and achievements in politics, and how she collaborated her experiences and values to serve the people. The important words in the video are entrepreneur, working class, legislature, debate, elect, minimum wage, hospitality industry, policy, self-awareness, confidence. Important phrases are see eye to eye, propel somebody into gerund, and the sentence pattern, no matter. Next on, we are broadening your vocabulary. Let's learn vocabulary about lawmaking. Legal. Illegal. Legislate. Legislation. Legislature. Legislative. Legislator. Legality. These words all feature leg, isn't it interesting? After finishing the video, we have compiled cultural knowledge for you. Do you know Yuan Chu, the first Asian American representative of New York, comes from Taiwan? Yuan Chu has served in the Brooklyn community for more than 10 years and has seen many immigrants encountering hardship and challenges. They have no voice in the political field to fight for their rights and resources. Thus, Chu decided to run for election. She got elected as the representative of New York in 2022. During her term, she devoted herself to promoting Chinese Americans and Asian Americans, and increasing the influence of Asian Americans in all realms. Yuan Chu hoped to keep speaking for immigrants and helping communities, so she declared to participate in the election by the end of 2024. Today's course has come to an end. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next time.